For Thursday, May 20th to order. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Dolly, can you take roll, please?
Supervisor Flaherty.
Here.
Councilwoman Cataldi.
Present.
Councilman Abbott.
Here.
Councilman Dean.
Here.
Councilman Cahill.
Here.
Town Attorney Genesi.
Present.
All right. And here. Well, this is going to be an enjoyable meeting tonight for a couple of reasons. First of all, for the attendees in the room, which I love seeing people back in this room. We opened back up to the public on April 1st this year. But as we all know, with the CDC guidelines and New York State opening up as far as masks and things of that nature as of yesterday, this is the first time, I think, in over 15 months that all the board members, the town clerk, the town attorney is on the dais. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it's kind of nice to have everybody back. One thing you might not be able to see on TV or there is that we do have plexiglass in between each of us. We don't have masks on, but this is a precautionary item because there are other boards that operate from this dais, the Planning Board, the Zoning Board of Appeals, I think, Charlie, the Assessment Review Board.
We'll be here, we'll be here, right.
Here too,
Correct.
so, anyway, so that's one reason why tonight's gonna be enjoyable, but the biggest reason it's gonna be enjoyable is because we got some young ones that are in the room tonight that are gonna get some special awards proclamations. And, I don't know if people saw in the newspaper today, the Webster Herald, Bella's, how do you pronounce it, Bumbas? Boombas was the front page article. It was our main thing in the Webster Town Weekly newsletter this past Monday. And tonight at our board meeting, we are going to do a special proclamation of a Webster Cares recognition for Bella's Boombas. So I'm going to put my mask back on because we have some young ones that are in the attendance tonight, and as we all know, they are not able to get vaccines yet. So I'd love for you to come up to the podium to get your proclamation, especially Bella. Because Bella, I'm going to think, how do we get, I got to figure out how to get her a microphone. Does that come on? Will that work? Yep. Okay. Bella, can you say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Bella, how old are you?
5.
You're 5. How did you get this invention named after you? Well, I think you know. Is there somebody maybe in the room or a couple people that came up with this idea and thought it was in honor of you? No?
Ouch.
Well,
We got named Bella's Boombas.
Uncle Marty made it.
come on right up, Uncle Marty, and you,
All right.
can you explain how
I want
this...
to take it from you, but Bella used to ask for her Boomba. After I made the wheelchair for her, she wanted the Boomba so she could roll around and play. So she'd always say, I want my Boomba, I want my Boomba. So when it came down to developing the not-for-profit, we were trying to figure out what kind of a name to call it, and it was Bella's Boomba because that's what she always asked for, her Boomba. That's how we got the name, Bella's Boomba.
And Bella, do you have a couple of your friends and brothers and sisters here tonight?
Yes.
Yes, you do. And is Mom and Dad here?
Yes.
There's a lot of people that came here to see you get honored for this, huh? Well, without further ado, Uncle Marty, do I have my glasses? Because if I don't, I won't be able to read this. But this is a proclamation for outstanding community service presented to Bella's Boombas. Whereas the town of Webster is honored to recognize citizens and business owners who demonstrate exemplary service to our community and a profound dedication to making Webster where life is worth living. And whereas Webster residents Marty Parzinski, I hope I said that correctly, Marty, and Rebecca Orr, now that I'm a hockey player, Bob, I can do Rebecca Orr, began this journey to bring mobility to their young niece Bella by creating the first Bella's Boomba, a custom-built wheelchair. And whereas watching Bella flourish with her new Boomba chair, inspired by Marty and Rebecca, to start building chairs for other children in need through their creation of Bella's Boomba's non-profit organization. And whereas that began as a labor of love in 2017 from their home workshop in Webster, has grown into a global initiative with their mission of mobility now reaching 45 countries around the world. And whereas through the efforts of Bella's family and many volunteers, approximately 2,000 children now have the gift of mobility with their new Bella's Boomba's chair. Now, therefore be it resolved that by the power invested in me as the supervisor and on behalf of the town board, we recognize the exemplary actions of the entire Bella's Boomba's team and hereby proclaim Friday, May 21st, tomorrow, as Bella's Day in the town of Webster. Would you like your proof that tomorrow is your day, Bella? I'll make the swap. You get that, we get this back, right?
That's something, Bella? Yeah, the whole town's gonna celebrate you tomorrow.
How about that?
Say thank you.
Bella, thank you. And Marty, thanks.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, great seeing you guys, all right?
Thank you.
Oh, sorry there, Gary. Well, I think we all can agree Bella does not lack for personality. So Mom and Dad, you are going to have a very, very, well, you already know this through your first 5 years with her. She'll keep you on your toes. And brother and sister, right? Now, we usually try to just have one proclamation recognition per board meeting. But we felt it necessary that in light of this week being EMS week, that we wanted to recognize the fantastic EMS organizations that we have here in town. So I'd like to take a moment to recognize 3 Webster emergency medical services that help make Webster where life is worth living. Webster West Fire Department Ambulance, Webster Emergency Medical Service, and Northeast Quadrant Advanced Life Support all provide important, we try to make it instant, pre-hospital emergency care. We are fortunate that these agencies provide life-saving services for our town. This week is National EMS Week, which was founded by President Gerald Ford in 1974 to recognize EMS practitioners and the important work they do in our nation's communities. The theme for 2021 is Caring for Our Communities, and it highlights how EMTs and paramedics have been and continue to be on the front line of the COVID pandemic. While other organizations and groups were recognized for their hard work during the pandemic, EMS workers have been less visibly commended. The perception can be that EMS workers simply take people from a scene to a hospital, but that is just part of the value they bring to our communities. In addition to answering almost 8,000 calls for service in the town of Webster last year, these 3 agencies provided training in CPR, AED, first aid, stop the bleed, and adult and pediatric emergency care. On behalf of the town of Webster, I'd like to say thank you to the men and women, EMTs and paramedics who keep the town and community safe. And tonight, Ahmed, if you can, because once again, the mast, I know it's you, Ahmed, from WEMS and from Nequal. Who else is with you tonight representing West Webster Fire or your WEMS or Nequal?
Yep, so I have someone here, my Deputy Chief Jerry Fidelli. He has been with us for 21 years, also a captain of the West Webster Fire Department, the past chief, and was actually instrumental in founding WEMS. He kind of got the ambulance is going, got the process running, and really is my right-hand man from the EMS point of view.
And his daughter is one of Bella's friends.
And a very close friend of Rebecca, yes, exactly. And on my left-hand side, Brad Cummings, he's a captain of West Webster, runs their ambulance on the West Webster side. So between the three of us, you have NAQ, WEMS, and West Webster all present tonight. And we appreciate the recognition during this interesting week for EMS. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that not only is this week EMS Recognition Week, but this is also the 5th anniversary that Webster Emergency Medical Services have been providing services to the town of Webster. Is that not true?
It is true. So actually, Charlie, we forgot an important date. But, May 16th was the day that we launched the paperwork for Webster EMS. So yes, last weekend was the 5-year anniversary of WEMS.
Outstanding. Thank you very much for your service.
Interesting ride, hasn't it?
So thank you for
Thank you, sir.
But don't worry, Bella, it's not their day tomorrow, it's yours, okay? All right? They didn't get any piece of paper that says it's their day tomorrow like you did, okay? I don't think that we have anybody here that wants to be on the microphone, open to the floor at this point. But by all means, if I missed in the sign-in, is anybody have anything that they want to say before we move on? You know,
He'll never give up a chance.
I really, I beg for it.
You open the door, sir.
It's an opportunity.
I sent an email to the town board last night, or maybe this morning, but yesterday we started shut-in vaccinations for our citizens in the town of Webster. And it was actually a very humbling experience. Chief Fideli, Deputy Chief Jordan, and myself all went to 2 homes yesterday. And what I want to do just really quickly while I'm here is if you are in the town of Webster and would like to have a COVID vaccination but cannot get out to get it, please call 211 or look up the COVID hotline on the internet, but 211 will do it. You can register yourself, they will vet you, make sure you meet all the requirements for us to come do it, and starting every Thursday going forward until we're done, we will come do the J&J vaccine, single dose at your house. So 211, please sign up, we're here to help. And it's taken us 6 weeks, but I think Chief Fideli will agree. It is very humbling to go to these folks' houses because they want the vaccine for either physical or other health reasons. They can't go get it. And to be able to, as a community paramedicine, come to their homes and deliver it at no cost to them takes no more than half an hour, and you're protected one more layer deep from this virus. So 211, please sign up if you'd like us to come visit. Thank you.
That was worth the time.
Ahmed, could I ask a quick question? So if it's anyone in the county, is this still their contact number if any of us have friends or relatives outside of Webster?
Yep, so in Monroe County, call 211.
Okay,
Yep. And
thank you.
If you live on the fringes or whatever, they'll direct you to the right place. Our hub covers, Jerry, I don't know if you remember, it's 5 counties. So the adjacent counties, the southern counties, but yes, if you're in that window, they'll get you whatever you need.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
All right, thanks. Anybody else? Okay, well, then we also had, and I want to thank you, Dolly, you stay really up to date on these minutes. It's very nice, because I know when I read them, my memory isn't that good, so if I'm looking at minutes from 2 months ago, I probably won't be able to recognize if that's exactly what happened. But you get them to us quick, and 2 weeks ago, May 6th, we got the minutes from you this past week. I looked them over. I would make a motion that we approve those May 6th, 2021 board meeting minutes.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
All right.
I did not see who came in and looked at the bills this week.
Same person that came in 2 weeks ago.
Okay, that would be you, Bill. That's why his name is Bill. He looks at the bills.
I reviewed the bills Wednesday. Everything looked in order, and I recommend that we pay them as submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second?
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilwoman Caldwell?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye. And I got to ask, is that just a scheduling snafu that you got 2 in a row?
No, we all get
2.
We each take a month.
We each take a month. Starts in
been here
January
how
and
many
rolls
months now?
through
You know what?
December.
Almost a year and a half, John, and that passed by me.
Well, we
Wow.
we're always learning.
Boy, that's,
There's actually a calendar that gets put out every year by the clerk, I do believe also.
okay.
I'm just
Well, I'm
saying.
glad there's a lot of people in the room today to see the supervisor's not that sharp, all right? I thought we switched off every 2 weeks, but it's monthly. There you go, okay. Well, I know that I look at the prepaid warrants monthly and every 2 weeks, and I'm the only one that does, so that was an easy one for me. And I've looked at them, and I would propose that we approve the prepaid warrants as directed by submitted by the Director of Finance.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Catali?
Aye.
All right, now we'll get to some resolutions where the brighter people get to talk. Paul Adams, if you can just kind of explain this next one?
Yeah, the next one is basically a resolution for the board to accept the annual audit report. The town does have an audit performed, a financial audit. It's completed by Mengel, Metzger and Barr, a CPA firm. They've issued a unqualified opinion dated April 22nd, 2021. And they basically confirm that we're in excellent financial position for the year, for 2020. Despite all the difficulties that the year entailed. They also issued a separate report, it's called the single audit report, and that is because we received over $750,000 of federal money, and that was the CARES Act money which flowed to the town through Monroe County. When you get over $750,000, you're required to have this additional audit to ensure the government that there are no material weaknesses in internal control and that you're in compliance with all the regulations that surround those monies. And that was also a clean opinion. There were no findings.
Do any of the board members, or Dolly or Charlie, have any questions, comments on this?
I just want to thank Paul for his excellent work on keeping our finances in order. And when I get these reports, I always cut to the page where if there's any findings. That's the
Correct.
first place I go, and there were none, so that's commendable. Thank you.
Thank you.
And before we do the resolution, I just want to say that, Paul, you said that 2020, we came out of it pretty good as a town. And I can't, and I've said it before, budgets are set really 3 to 6 months before the beginning of the year. So the 2020 budget was set in 2019, and that was prior Supervisor Ron Nesbitt and this board, and they did a great job of budgeting conservatively. And Paul, since you and I are both accountants, we really like that.
We do like that.
And it really benefited the town of Webster in 2020, that practice of budgeting conservatively, because where some of the other municipalities really got hurt in COVID,
Oh, yeah.
we did not.
Correct.
And I think that's a testament to the foresight of conservative budgeting back in 19 when I wasn't nowhere near this. So thank you, Mary, Bill, Patty, and John, and if former Supervisor Nesbitt is watching, thank you too. So with that being said, I propose a resolution to accept the 2020 annual audit report as prepared by Mengel, Metzger and Barr and Company LLP.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Catali?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
And one last thing on finances before we move away from that, Paul. I know that's people probably have seen in the news there was $1.9 trillion CARES, I call it iteration 2. Some of that money came to local governments. The town of Webster was slotted for a little under $5 million.
Yeah.
The town has about 4.4 million of that. The village municipality gets 600,000. In the last week, you had done some execution with
Yeah.
the Treasury Department. If you could just explain that, because I think the money's on the way.
Correct. Yeah, we're required to register the town with the United States Treasury Department, which basically supplies them with our DUNS number, which is an identifying number for the federal government, for us. And the bank account information, you know, so they can wire the funds to us when they become available. So they're expecting 50% of the money to possibly come by the end of May, which is very soon. And then the other 50% would be about a year from now.
Yeah.
And there are also guidelines as to how that money can be spent. It can be utilized to replace what we calculate to be lost revenue. And it can also be used for special projects, for wastewater treatment, things like that. So we'll have to get together and look at the regulations and determine which is the best way to utilize these funds.
And that'll be a process, and I know that, you know, and thank you, Paul, because the board, you'll see it in the upcoming months, we'll probably get into discussions about, you know, what do we do with this money? And I go back to what I said, because we are in a good financial situation, we have the benefit of being able to look at what should we do with this, instead of like, well, we need this money to shore up some major holes, like some other municipalities have. So I've made this analogous to winning the lottery. All of a sudden, every cousin and friend has come out of the woodwork and said, hey, you know, we should use the money for this, this, and this. And I've said, we're going to take a very measured approach to this and have the board look at a lot of different options and figure out what's best for the community today and for the next 20 years. So
Right.
I'm looking forward to getting into that
Yeah.
process. And I think that process is going to need to start when the money hits us. That's $2.5 million almost that's going to hit us
Yeah,
in the next couple of weeks. So I think that's when we will probably have to start talking about
we'll
this.
start talking.
So, anyway. I'm not sure if Mary, have you described the next 4 resolutions? I know that Josh Artuzo, our Director of Community Development, really spearheaded the presentation at last week's workshop on basically converting our notifications at the town from letters to people that live within 300 feet or 100 feet of a proposed project going to the planning board, or a proposed variance going to the zoning board of appeals, and replacing letters out to people with actually posted signs on the property where the proposed development is. Thinking that more people will see the posted signs than just the letters going out to people that live within 300 or 100 feet. And to the board members, I mean, that was last week's presentation. I think Josh did a good job. We had a lot of samples of what the signs would look like. And Charlie, I think you have counseled us on this, that because what seems very simple, that we're just going to go to signs that post at the property versus letters, well, it touches about it touches 4 different chapters of our code.
Correct.
And because of that, we have to set a public hearing for each of those chapters of the code, even though it all spawns off the same thing.
Yeah,
we're trying to change.
there's basically, there's 3 boards that have public hearings that require notice. Obviously, our board, also the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals. The resolutions are the first one is for communication towers, public hearings, which we don't have too many of, but that's chapter 95. The next is chapter 192, which is subdivision plat approvals, which the planning board hears. Chapter 225 is the zoning law, and there are 2 or 3 instances where public hearings would be held and notices have to be given or would be given out to the public. That's rezonings, variances, use and area variances, and also special use permits. And lastly, Chapter 228, which covers planning, that is for basically for preliminary approvals, site plan approvals that the planning board conducts. So covers all the boards and I think we've tried to cover every single type of hearing that would require a public notice.
remember when I said, Mary, maybe, I don't know if anybody's got to say anything else before we vote on these. That's a pretty thorough explanation.
I say between last week and this, or the last board meeting and this board meeting, we pretty much covered it.
Yeah. Does anybody have any comments or questions, or I'm going to just rattle through these four?
Sounds good.
Okay. Is Bella asleep yet? Because this is where we've hit the boring part of the meeting. Okay.
So,
Well, there you go.
He's gotta
All right.
have
Well,
to
we're-
kiss her. He's
all
one at a
right.
time.
Well, I
He can't go
propose a
through all four.
resolution to schedule a public hearing to enact a local law amending the notice provisions for public hearings under Chapter 95 of the Webster Town Code. And this will be for Thursday, June 3rd, and will be in the, hang on a minute.
No, it'll be here.
I know, I'm talking about what date it'll be in the Webster Herald.
I took it from you, sorry.
But that would be Wednesday, the 26th.
Yes,
I want to just make sure we have that
Wednesday is the
slotted.
26th.
Wednesday, the 26th edition of the Webster Herald for a Thursday, June 3rd public hearing. That's my proposed resolution.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Catali?
Aye.
And I'll propose a resolution to schedule a public hearing to enact a local law amending the notice provisions for public hearings under Chapter 192 of the Webster Town Code to be published in the Wednesday, May 26th edition of the Webster Herald, and to be on the public hearing to be on Thursday, June 3rd. That's my proposed resolution.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Catali?
Aye.
And I propose a resolution to schedule a public hearing to enact a local law amending the notice provisions for public hearings under Chapter 225 of the Webster Town Code to be published in the Webster Herald's Wednesday, May 26th edition, and for the public hearing to be on Thursday, June 3rd.
Second?
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilwoman Catali?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
And last but not least, I propose a resolution to schedule a public hearing to enact a local law amending the notice provisions for public hearings under Chapter 228 of the Webster Town Code to be published in the Webster Herald's Wednesday, May 26th edition, and for the public hearing to occur on Thursday, June 3rd.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Catali?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
All right, before we move on, any side bets of how long those four public hearings will be on June 3rd?
I hope you haven't got anything else planned.
You want to go double or nothing?
No, I don't.
If we're lucky, we'll be done by 10.
Well, we'll see what happens, Bill. I don't see this as a controversial thing, but I don't have a gauge anymore of what's controversial. All right. Well, wait a minute. Where is Mr. Bichotto? Hey, Russ. Nice to finally meet you. Russ, are you here with your significant other? Jamie, if you guys both would like to come up, the next, either, okay, you'll, well, Mr. Bichotto and I think, talked on the phone last week,
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
and then I know Mary and Tom Corbett, I think, came out to your house earlier this week or last week?
Mary's been out there, Tom's been out there twice.
Okay. And if I remember correctly from my notes, you got about a 3-acre lot. You're trying to fill in a big hole in the back. You've got it
Large lot
almost
district.
done.
Yes, 172 Basket Road. It's in the back.
Yeah.
So
And you could, if you want to take off your mask,
It's
the kids are all
behind-
gone now.
I'm gonna look at my ugly mug. It's behind the house, and we also have a decent sized, well, it's a pole barn attached to the house. And this is 2 acres back, an acre and a half back
Right.
from the road, so it's nothing that's up front.
And I know that you're anxious to get this done, Jamie, because he told me that there's mud all over the house.
You have no idea.
Is that correct? Okay, so that's why we tried to get you in front of the board quickly, Russ, because
I
we understood
appreciate
that
that. Thank you.
you can't have mud all over your house, so. Well, I mean, certainly, you know, all the paperwork is here, filled out correctly, there's sketch map. I mean, does anybody on the town board, or Dolly, or?
Does Mary have any comment?
No, he's just making his yard more usable. He's working with his neighbors. So when he's done, it's going to be a nice end product, so.
Good.
And Patty, I was
do you have
moving
access
my
to
way
Phil?
toward Mary.
I was, we do, Webster would be a great place to get it from, but landscapers, guys, when they dig out a pool, that type of thing, I imagine that those would be the guys that would, you know, to reach out to, keep it local, that type of thing. I know Webster might have some projects going on, but I was gonna talk to Tom about that. He might have some more info for me on that.
Tom
How much
Corbett.
more fill do you need?
1,000
lot.
yards.
What? You need 1,000 yards?
Yeah, I think it would be.
I got a couple guys I can call.
If you could send them my way,
Yeah, actually, I'll give you their phone number when we're done here.
that'd be perfect. So, we're looking for topsoiling, that type of
Yeah.
thing. So anything, it doesn't have to be beautiful, or, you know, it doesn't have to
Right.
be sifted or anything like that, but, you know, anything that's,
Yeah,
we can build it with.
I'll get you some information. I don't have any questions.
Barry, Bill, Dolly?
I'm good.
I'm working my way this way. Charlie, Patty, John, Mary,
No questions.
Paul.
But
Propose a resolution to approve a fill permit at 172 Basket Road for the Vachados.
Second.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye?
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
What do I do next?
That's a great question.
I could get a shovel and a wheelbarrow. What do you need from me? Do I just get something in the mail, or?
So there'll be a resolution that'll get placed in my office, and then
Okay.
I'll give you a call or email you, and we'll get it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Russ and Jay. Hopefully the mud will be off the floors soon. Bill, do you want to take a 10, 15-minute break and just kind of have some small talk now, or?
Well, I just soon finished the agenda.
Would you like to? Oh, then, all right, then we'll go with what you say, okay? Well, Bill, why don't you take over from here on this last one?
Resolution to declare the following items as asset surplus from the Webster Highway Department for recycling. Office chair asset 04267, printer Petrovad gas monitor asset 02511, typewriter Nakajima asset 02543, Kodak camera asset 02532.
Second.
Councilman Abbott?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Councilman Cahill?
Aye.
Supervisor Flaherty?
Aye.
Councilwoman Cataldi?
Aye.
All right, well,
Aye,
that
aye, aye.
concludes the formal part of our meeting tonight. We will open the phone lines for a couple minutes. And while we're waiting to see if anybody wants to call in, I just got to say that you can't make this stuff up on some of this asset stuff that we put out to pasture when you see typewriters and,
I think you should go to the museum.
holy cow. Yeah, Barry, I mean, you run you're part of the museum.
do with
Did
it?
you ever think about getting that over there?
They just like.
A new typewriter?
Garbage?
Well, there is no such thing as a new typewriter.
I thought you were asking.
Well, I don't want to blow you
I
in,
use a
Charlie.
typewriter.
But he
We
gave
can
me a
get-
document the other day, and I'm like, is that a typewriter? And he said, yeah. I'm like,
We could get a refurbished one from Singer. I
Hey.
know that's before your time.
wait a minute.
Singer.
I know, well, hey, I did all my college stuff, papers on a typewriter, okay?
Oh, you did them?
I'm not that.
Oh, sure.
Oh, boy.
Let's just put it this way, Barry. I was the same writer then as I am now. Not very good. Well, it looks like we haven't entertained enough for the home crowd that they want to call in tonight, so we do.
Patty's birthday's next week, by the way.
And Barry's was last week. That's right. Or over the weekend.
Monday.
Monday, it was Monday,
Sorry
that's right.
Thanks a lot, Charlie.
My friends like me, right?
Do we have?
Will you be singing?
Well, we have a workshop next week.
Yes, we do.
Pretty big
But
one.
it's a pretty
Yeah.
lengthy workshop. Let's not add any celebrations to it, okay?
No, so we'll just, real quick, Barry, anything?
Nope.
Bill?
Nope.
I'll leave you. Dolly, no, nothing. It's not your time of year for taxes or anything. Charlie? Wow. Patty?
The renovations at the Clem Road Pump Station are going along fairly well until they hit another snafu today, but Art assures me that that will be taken care of by Monday. I was down there looking at it a couple weeks ago, and then last week got called out to stick my head in a manhole to see a rusted elbow pipe of some sort. So they replaced that, and they lined the manhole area, and it's looking good. And fortunately, he's been able to do that within the cost of the project, so that's really what's most important. But, you know, when you start digging, you don't know what you're going to find.
No, you don't. Yeah, I was over there. It's pretty impressive what they're doing. John? Oh, boy.
I think I'd like to mention the fact that the Amed's building is coming along very, very well. I'm looking forward to meeting that June deadline to get in there,
26th.
right? Yeah, 26. So, yeah. And at the Arboretum, they had divers up there cleaning the muck out. That was a pretty neat operation going on, so, yeah.
It's good stuff.
I would also like to congratulate Ahmed as being named one of Rochester Business Journal's Hometown Health Heroes. Is that what it's called? Yeah, Healthcare Heroes. And he was recognized in the EMT category for not only his service in the EMT community, saving lives and keeping the town healthier, but also his administrative efforts in getting the new building put together and the fundraising and all that's involved in that. I know you're doing it with a team, but every team takes a leader, and I just want to congratulate you on being recognized.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Mary, we can get you home a little earlier tonight?
Yeah, I guess so.
Any pearls of wisdom from your first month plus?
I feel very supported by everyone, so I appreciate that, and I look forward to the journey here at Webster. So,
We're thrilled to have you.
thanks.
We really
Very
are.
fortunate to have you.
know.
Absolutely.
Paul?
Yeah, I also had a tour of the Clem Road Pump Station on Monday.
Boy, everybody's getting
Yeah,
that,
I mean,
No,
I'll tell you.
it's coming along great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, they went through the whole thing,
It's pretty amazing how
painted it up
fast
with
it can
epoxy,
get done.
and
yeah.
it's gonna be like
Yeah.
new.
I love when Art gives me a call and says, come on down, look at it, wear your boots.
Yep, he said, yeah, field trip time. But about 10 days ago, we kicked off the budget process with the department heads, so that's underway. They are due to get everything back to me by the middle of June, then we'll have our meetings for about 3 or 4 weeks after that and progress along.
Great.
Good.
Well, gang, you're going to walk outside and it's still light out. This meeting is officially adjourned.